Give me coffee in the morning, gotta have the caffeine. Wake me up, shake me up, dip me back on pussy. Pause shit, juice shit, set up feeling so alive. Coffee in the morning, it's the best way to survive. Woke up in the morning, sleepy eyes yawning. Jumped out of bed, started the day, opened the curtains. Felt the cool breeze, the sun shining on my face. But something was missing, I needed my job to chase. Give me coffee in the morning, give me coffee in the morning, gotta have the caffeine. Wake me up, shake me up, dip me back on pussy. Pause shit, juice shit, set up feeling so alive. Coffee in the morning, it's the best way to survive.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Welcome in. I hope y'all had a great night, and I hope you're setting yourself up for a great day. So far, so good on my end. Welcome on in. We got some things to talk about today. Oh, goodness. Sound check. Everybody can hear me well. Carrie, welcome in. Miss Ma'am, how's that baby doing? True crime butterfly. I'll get it out eventually. Y'all know me. Forrest, welcome in. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Boy, guys, y'all can tell by the thumbnail, it ain't good, right? What's wrong with these parents? We'll explore. Kind of like it says, they remind you of something or someone we've talked about in the past. Remember when we kept having those discussions about Jennifer Soto and how we hoped those big red flags would be teaching other women things? Yeah. And we knew when we were talking about Maddie's case, there are other kids out there right now going through the same thing, and their moms are just simply turning their heads. Yeah, we got a couple of them cases, it looks like. Thank you, Butterfly. Sounds good. Good deal. So I gathered some more information last night, Forrest, on the case we were following with Ruby, and got some more information. And guys, kept wondering things like, what do you mean he cut off an ankle monitor? Well, now I got a little bit of a backstory thanks to some news updates. Daddy and sister update. Both are doing well this morning, Butterfly. Thank you. Sister is going to have some blood work done soon, and they'll probably let her go home this afternoon. Daddy hopefully can go home today. He's been up and on the go. You can't keep that man down. He don't like sitting still. But he's been up and moving around. He's been eating solid foods for 2 days, and he got up this morning and got a shower, and my brother's there with him, and he's doing well. So we're waiting on the docs to come in to give us the all go home or not. I think they'll let him go today, though, especially since he's feeling a lot better. So thank you thank you all for your prayers and your wishes. They're much appreciated. So everybody's doing good. I still may go. Now, my dad's a little stubborn, but if he thinks he's doing way better, he may not need me for a couple of days. But if he does, I'm going to go. So, but we got a jam-packed show for this morning, guys. Butterfly may not be able to be here the whole time. She's got a little visitor in the house this morning. Thank you, Butterfly. I appreciate it. Yes, we're always good to hear when we get the good updates on our loved ones, right? So, fortunately, all is good. We're going to keep it that way, right? Or we're going to try like hell. Oh, I better watch my mouth. I'm already in trouble with the tubes. Apparently, like I called it, I got in trouble. My yesterday's show may not be suitable for all those ads because we said words they didn't like. It's okay. We'll take $1 versus $5. I don't care. I cannot justify using those baby words, but it is what it is. Some of those shows get like that and some don't. I can't sugarcoat stuff and tame it down to please the YouTube streets, right? or the YouTube powers that be, whatever they're calling themselves, trying to censor me over here with your censorship. We won't have it. We're just not going to take it anymore. Alrighty. You guys, if you're not big on coming in and chatting it up with us, which we do appreciate you chatters, this is Coffee and Crime Conversations, please at least give us a thumbs up and a like. Make the thumbs up match the number of views we're getting. Yeah, free speech, but apparently certain words, butterfly, are harmful to adult ears, even though none of my content's made for children. Clearly says that. We clearly throw up little warnings for those who may need it. Yeah, apparently the only ones that get real free speech are people in politics. I don't know. Dolphin, there you are, ma'am. How are you this morning? Come on in. We're going to get some updates today, guys. All right, we're going to get started here. Baby Emmanuel, as we were talking about yesterday on yesterday's live, they were Rebecca and Jake were supposed to be in court for what they call a settlement conference hearing. When you hear the word settlement conference, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? Plea deals in the works again. Why in the world would they entertain that man in some kind of plea deal is beyond me. You had your acupuncture yesterday. I've threatened to do it, but I never did. I know you've said you've had success with that. Well, I hope you're feeling better today. How's Pipsqueak doing? We haven't heard from our mascot dog in a minute. And our deer, what about our family of deer, ma'am? You need to give us some updates. We need the dolphin updates. Yes, everyone, thank you for joining us this morning. Please share and subscribe and like. It certainly helps the channel grow and brings in some more like-minded people to the community who want to see these cases. These cases are important, guys, and we stick to facts as much as we can. Of course, we speculate and talk about what all is going on with the cases and different aspects of it. But it's really, if one person can be in the audience and take away something they never thought of before, like a woman dealing with a man she's not sure if she should get rid of or not. Is he really looking at my baby sideways? Well, maybe we can help y'all get there. Let's say, 40 years ago, spousal abuse wasn't talked about a whole lot. And women didn't know there was a way out. And they didn't know there were other women out there like them. And guess what? In the mid to late 80s, all these talk shows came out. And all these women started coming on and talking about their abuse. And these psychologists talking about what these women go through. And suddenly it was not taboo anymore to talk about. And women started seeing, wait a minute, I'm not alone, and there is a way out. Hopefully by spreading awareness is how mothers, you don't need that man after all. I don't know how to say it any nicer anymore. I don't know how to say it nicely to women who prefer that man over that baby. That you're willing to do anything and everything to protect him. Jen Soto style. Vertigo is brutal. I had that shit a couple days ago. Oh my goodness. Okay, so let's pull up what I have to start with here. On this article we're going to read about the Haro case, and then we're going to move on because there's not much to what's going on there, except I'm aggravated that there's also the possibility of a plea deal. You know what I mean? That is insane. And they are due back in court what day? October 16th and the 28th. I'm assuming, I don't know if they're going to be in court together or what their deal is. Okay, so this is an article and a piece. Let me pull this up for you guys. in your scalp, neck, shoulders, and behind your ears. Dang, I think I should have went with you. Lord, okay. It probably helps a lot. I've heard that it really helps, and yeah, maybe I should get on down there and get me some of that. Okay. She already talking. Let me unmute her.
Residents Jake and Rebecca Haro, the parents of missing infant Emmanuel Haro, were in court this morning, continuing the legal proceedings on charges they killed Emmanuel and then filed a false police report. Brett Rosen is live outside of the Riverside Hall of Justice. He was in the courtroom and has the latest details for us. Brett?
Olivia, here outside the Hall of Justice in Riverside, just moments ago, both Jake and Rebecca Haro were seen again in court. It's been almost 2 weeks since the parents pled not guilty to the murder charge of their son Emmanuel. Today was a felony settlement conference. The purpose of today is for the attorneys to exchange information about the case to understand the evidence and build their respective positions. Today, Jake Haro's attorney had requested a pushback date for the felony settlement conference, and even though the attorney for Rebecca Haro objected it, the judge granted a new date for October 16th, and now the new preliminary trial date will be on October 28th. The purpose of the preliminaries is to have the judge determine if there's enough evidence or probable cause to believe a crime was committed. It was a little over a month ago, Rebecca Haro reported that she was struck outside of Big Five in Yucaipa, and when she came to, she saw that her son was missing. Soon after, law enforcement say there was inconsistencies with her accounts. After that, both parents, Jake and Rebecca Haro, were uncooperative, and on August 22nd, both were arrested.
Sorry, guys.
At their home in Cabazon. Now, again,
Okay, I don't know what's going on with that, but let me get to that article because it's got some information in it. Whoops. My internet gonna act funky this morning when it's been fine? Okay. So this status conference hearing, so Rebecca's attorneys objected. Hang on, let me pull up the article again. So I'd rather read that anyway. Okay. It's ridiculous that they're even entertaining that, especially after the DA coming out and speaking out against the judge who gave him the last plea deal. Like, what are y'all doing over there? Not acceptable. Almost 2 weeks after Jake and Rebecca Haro pled not guilty for the murder charge of their 7-month-old baby, Emmanuel Haro, today they are back in court. This was yesterday for the felony settlement conference. This will be a hearing between arraignment and the prelim. The point of this hearing is to provide both sides a clearer understanding of the opposing party's case and potential outcomes. Today, Haro's attorney filed to push back the felony settlement conference, and even though Rebecca Haro's attorney objected, the judge granted that request. The new date for the felony conference will be on the 16th. Okay, so that explains that, and then the prelim will be on the 28th. Now, what do y'all need to discuss in a settlement conference? There should be no settlement with this man. The last time y'all settled with him, after he darn near killed the first baby and injured her for life, and you let him go, now you're really going to toss a coin on him again? They better not. Which will be where the judge determines if there's enough evidence in the probable cause hearing. Okay, it was a little over a month ago when the mother of Emmanuel reported him missing when she was struck. Now, I wonder if they even attempt to plea bargain with these two. Are they going to force them to tell them where that baby's body is? They should, because I think enough's enough of that with this man. I can't even. And a lot of you mothers out there, and even non-mothers, I mean, it doesn't take a mother to tell. If you looked in that baby's face in the photos that we did see, that baby appeared to have something wrong with him. Was it a result of injuries he had sustained over the past few months of baby shaken syndrome style? Yes, sir, I'm accusing you of shaken baby syndrome. Look at that little baby's distant eyes. You can't tell me there wasn't something wrong with that child. What I don't know is if he was born with a condition or if they gave him a condition the way Jake did his other little girl. It's disgusting and it's horrible. And I hope they don't plea with these people. When are we as a public going to stand up and say enough's enough with our criminal justice system? Stop giving out pleas to horrible people. You want to throw a pot dealer in jail for the rest of their entire natural life, but you're going to let a child abuser who damn near beats kids to death on a regular basis go scot-free with a little pop 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 on the hand. And oh wait, mama, you going to turn against him now? Come on, we'll give you some immunity derivative or whatever the hell it was called. Derivative immunity. I don't even know what it was called now. I done got so flustered with that shit. So we'll have to wait and see, guys, how that pans out. I don't think that I just can't see that district attorney being willing to play ball like that, knowing how he came out and spoke against them for letting him have a plea deal in the past. Maybe that's a routine hearing over there in their state. I haven't looked that far, but I know what the conference hearing's about, right? So we'll have to see how that goes. And then October 16th and 28th are their next court dates, so we will definitely keep an eye on that docket and as that comes up. Yeah, and you guys share this shit out because these moms need to realize, and I'm saying moms because I'm not seeing a lot of daddies out there, well, except for Terry Heuermann, whatever her name was. There's not a whole lot of dads out there who actually have their children letting willy-nilly women come in. There probably are. We're just not hearing about it as much because the women may be subtle in their abuse. I don't know what the deal is. But we got too many men coming into children's lives, preying on these babies, and these mothers thinking, he's changed, or that's not really what I think it is it? Well, he's in bed with me at night. Yeah, until you fall asleep, honey. Until you fall asleep. Ask Jennifer Soto. She knows. Oh, wait. She never gave him the chance to fall asleep in her bed. It was, nope, get out and get upstairs and get away from me. Sicko. Okay. Little Ruby Lehman. When Ruby went missing over the weekend, Forrest and I were knee-deep in that case. We were worried sick about this little girl. Like, I was literally so worried about her. Those of you who know me know I don't like to jump off into kids' cases, but when one's missing, it's different. You don't know what the outcome's going to be, and you need to get that out there, get the information out, get their photos out. So we were doing that. Then find out her mama got arrested too. Do what, ma'am? And then we find out that you called the cops to report that little girl missing, and then you didn't tell them for 2 to 3 hours. You think you know who took her. Well, that landed you right in jail, didn't it, ma'am? Where you deserve to be. Let's take a look at that. We'll take a look at this news clip first, and then we got a couple of things to read on it. Okay, let me get this pulled up here. All right. I think this is the one that talks about her mother. Now, Coyle is the one who kidnapped her, and he was originally, I believe, married to her aunt. And then at some point, he ends up with her mother, the aunt's sister or whatever. I'm this weird, confusing family, okay? It's hard to figure them out. But he was once married to her aunt. But at this point in time, he was with the mother. That's so bizarre. I don't sister swap men. No. It's disgusting. I got 3 sisters, and I don't think none of them had a man I wanted. Jesus Christ.
The Amber Alert case of 6-year-old Ruby Lehman. Ruby was found near the Almond School Forest on Saturday with her uncle, Jordan Coyle. Now her mother, Chelsea Lehman, has been booked into the Portage County Jail. She's there on charges of aiding a felon, obstructing an officer, and encouraging a parole violation. News Channel 7's Madison Morandi joined us now to talk about the search for Ruby. Madison, how are officers feeling about this case?
Dale, in a news conference on Saturday, Sheriff Mike Lucas called this outcome the best case scenario. The Portage County Sheriff's Office received hundreds of tips from the community. They're feeling grateful for the help from multiple agencies to find Ruby and her uncle. On September 12th, the day before Ruby and Coyle were found, officers found evidence Coyle was in the woods in Portage County. Officers started grid searching around 10 a.m. the next day. They used thermal drones, dogs.
Can you guys hear that okay? Because I can read the article. It's got all the information in there. It's like it sounds low to me, so. Is he an uncle or, yeah, butterfly? They said she had a close relation. Ruby had a close relationship and was calling him dad. And that ain't even the. We're going to get there. Hold on.
People on the ground and tracking devices. Officers saw push down brush at 1:50 p.m. and by 4:47 they found Ruby near Almond School Forest.
To see her bright smile and her excitement, even though she was scared, she still had a smile on. So it makes my day to see this such a positive resolve with so much manpower.
The Portage County Sheriff's Office says Coyle was also in the woods and has since been booked into the Portage County Jail on a probation violation. Sheriff Lucas says working on this case has been personal.
This is my area. I lived down in that area, which was very, very tough in regards to having to know the community down there and having personal relationships with a lot of the people down there. So, I took a really vested interest in helping Ruby and making sure she got home safe.
The Portage County District Attorney says Ruby's mother, 31-year-old Chelsea Lehmann, will likely appear in court tomorrow. What's not clear in this case is a motive.
Well, we'll see if she appears in court today, if anybody puts a clip of that out later. Let me get the article back up, guys. So, let me show you a picture. When Ruby went missing, let me get my screen bigger here. When she went missing, this was posted, right? And I immediately thought something's not right. Not just that she's missing, something wasn't right about this photo. And then I took a look at his pickup truck. And I'm like, there's no way that dude's getting across. He's not getting across the country in that truck. Better look in the woods. Lo and behold, she was in the woods. He struck me as that kind of guy. This is a picture of Ruby wearing what she disappeared in the backyard, looking dead ass at the camera, all by herself. Last known photo of Ruby before she disappeared. Where is her kidnapper in this photo? Is he standing over here just out of eye shot saying, come on? No. The child went to go find him. Why? Because mommy was harboring a fugitive. Why? Because they found out he was living in a home with children and they were looking for him. So keep that picture in mind. All by herself in the backyard looking at the camera. All right, now let me pull the article back up because it's got the information I wanted to share about that. It just something wasn't right about that darn picture, and I didn't know what it was. I knew he was missing in the picture, her abductor or whoever had her. Oh, Ruby's folder. Here we go. Okay, so this is going to be in this one. Oh, Joe, thank you for asking. My dad is doing much, much better this morning. He's up. He's on the move. He's eating well. Hopefully we'll get him released this afternoon. Okay. So mother, Chelsea Lehmann, has been charged with aiding and harboring a felon. Harboring. So that was prior to Ruby going missing. She was charged with aiding and harboring a felon after her daughter, Ruby Lehman, was the subject of an Amber Alert in Almond, Wisconsin last week, and it was discovered they were living with a registered sex offender. An Amber Alert was issued for 6-year-old Ruby on Thursday, September the 11th, when police believed she was with Jordan Coyle, the registered offender, her uncle by marriage. After a 2-day search, Ruby and Coyle were found safe, hiding in a wooded area in Almond. Not far from her home, by the way. Police said Ruby was unharmed at the time and taken to safety. Now, People in the Facebook group reported yesterday that Ruby's dad was seen dropping Ruby and the other kids off at school. But that's a Facebook rumor that I cannot confirm. We all wondered where this child was now. Okay, so found them hiding in the wooded area. So Ruby was unharmed, and then when they found her, she was holding a video game in her hand, and he was just beyond her in the woods. Portage County District Attorney Cass Cousins revealed in a press release on Tuesday that Ruby's mom, Chelsea Lehman, had recently moved into a house with Coyle, knowing he is a registered sex offender. My thing keeps jumping around. So she knew he was an offender after being convicted of sexually assaulting a younger cousin 16 years ago. And from what I understand in reporting from Grizzly True Crime, it was actually 2 younger cousins. But I haven't seen the documents on it yet. When the Department of Corrections learned that children were living with Coyle, they issued a warrant for his arrest. Cousins went on to say Coyle began actively avoiding arrest and hid from law enforcement, even fleeing from his home on September 9th. Ruby didn't go missing until the 11th. So Mama knew they were looking for him by September 9th, and they had a warrant for his arrest. Police believe Chelsea Lehman was helping Coyle evade police, and she's now charged with aiding and harboring a felon and encouraging a violation of probation, extended supervision, or parole. Remember, we kept hearing he cut his ankle monitor off? I'm like, why was he on an ankle monitor? Those earlier charges were 16 years ago. Is he on a lifelong monitor? Is it that? What's going on here? When police initially believed Coyle may have coerced or forced Ruby to leave their home, investigators now believe Ruby walked away from the house on her own accord. Going back to that picture, Cousins said the little girl had formed a close relationship with Coyle, even calling him dad, and that she had gone looking for Coyle after he fled the house last Tuesday. Who was watching the baby when she went out the back door to look for her dad? Why was he in the house to start with to run out the back door? Was he even there? And she's like, well, that's the last time I saw him, was running out the back door to hide from them cops. I'm going to go find him. Did she go out the back door to go, and he happened to be out in the woods behind the house and find her? Because according to the authorities, the first night she was missing, they know he was still in the area. They found evidence in the woods, but not the location he was found in. So I'm wondering if he was right there near their home, behind it somewhere in the woods, and he saw Ruby come out. We don't know how that happened yet. They believe she left the house on her own accord to walk out and look for him, and then he ends up with her. District Attorney Cousins has released the following statement: the missing persons complaint and Amber Alert has caused tremendous fear and concern in the community. Yeah, because you don't know if you've got a predator out there now looking for everybody's baby. Who's going to be the next one? Ms. Lehman is, and plus all people who want to go out and try to search and help, right? Worried sick. Ms. Lehman is alleged through her actions to have evaded a felon to avoid a lawful arrest and thereby directly contributed to causing this alarming situation. Thankfully, through law enforcement's tireless around-the-clock efforts, the child was found safe in less than 48 hours. That's a miracle in itself these days. You would think we could find them that quickly with all the cameras and phones and da-da-da-da-da. But if you don't know who took them, immediately. Oh, by the way, my kid's missing. A few hours later, oh, you know what? He might have her. Lady. While current information indicates that the child was not physically abducted from the residence by threats or force, but rather left seeking to find Mr. Coyle as he hid in the woods and avoided arrest on his warrant. The state intends to prosecute all applicable criminal. Something's still missing, If that child went out that back door and across that backyard all by herself, how did he end up with her if he wasn't back there in the woods hiding behind the house? Or did Mama deliver her on a silver platter like Soto did? You got a lot, Lordy. I wish I was a DA in that county right now. I wish I was a DA in the Haro case too. Lehmann is in custody pending her initial appearance, and Coyle is in custody on a DOC hold and pending the filing of criminal charges. State intends to prosecute all applicable criminal enforcers from this incident. I would like to thank all of the law enforcement agencies and other organizations involved. That is crazy to think. It's just crazy to even think, right? That a mom would do that. You know, that ain't even old Jen. Oh, I didn't know. I don't want a Woody Allen situation, but I don't know why I even said that because nothing was happening in my house. Certainly not between me and Mr. whatever that thing is he has. God. Hold on, we got something else to look at. I am still confused on how that baby ended up with him, right? He had to have been behind the house. So and when you look at the map around the area, it reminds me of my area, open fields, but I'm also living on the edge of one of Florida's most densely populated state forests and open fields, right? You don't want to get lost in my woods. I won't, but you don't want to. There's a lot of good places in them woods. But the woods around this place, it's not like that, right? There's a small forest where he was at, but there's not a lot of woods around that house. And I'll show you guys on the map and show you just how close he had that child. My gut told me when I was watching over there at Grizzly True Crime on, was it Saturday? I believe it was. We were watching that. I was like, man, just looking at that truck and for just looking at him, I was like, they got to be in the damn woods somewhere. It would just make sense. I didn't picture him as fleeing the town and the state and all that. I just didn't. I don't think he's that bright. He didn't know what the hell to do. Thank God for dumb people. Okay. So over here, let me click it this way. This is where Ruby lived. I gotta get the map up. You guys, yeah, let me get this down and let me change this stuff up. Hold on, guys. Sorry. Okay. We don't got big fancy producers over here. Y'all just got me. All right. Ruby lives here. So this is the home where Ruby lived. And in the backyard, that's where she was at when she went out the back door to go look for him, was this little small country farmhouse. And if you go this way and you take a look, there's a van parked there, I noticed, but I didn't see his pickup in this shot anywhere. There's this little patch here, but that's not, I don't know if he was hiding in there. Back going the other direction is where going toward where he took her. So if you come to this side of the home, and then we'll go look at the overhead again, you can kind of get an idea. So you can see, right, there's some woods back here, and the house is right over here where this red truck is. Oops. So there's some thick back there, but I don't know. Let me look at this way. Okay, so if you could zoom in like this overhead, you see it's not much. Can you guys see that well? The back of the house. There's not like a lot of woods to hide in behind that house, on the side or behind. Just this little bit of thicket surrounding it. Was he like standing in there or hiding? You know what I'm saying? I don't know what prompted her to go out that back door that day to look for him. I just don't know that part. So let's take a look at where she was found in relation to that home. She was found in what they call Almond Bancroft School Woods, and there's a Almond Bancroft School here as well. And so she lived on Highway D here. Highway J is also known as Main Street, and down that highway is where the woods were. So we'll go look there. It's also known as 3rd Avenue. Okay, so this is going back out. I'll show you. Over here is where she lived, right? And then not far, I think it was like, God, it's like 3 miles. It's not far at all. 3 or 4 miles. Okay. Here, one of the officers was, out looking, and he noticed some grass. I don't know if he drove down in there, and then noticed it, but he noticed grass laid down, right? And he went down there. Well, the truck was parked somewhere off in the edge of the woods. It ain't gonna let us go down in there, but that's the location. So the truck was parked off into the woods, and the officer went out to investigate, found the truck, went in a little bit further, he found Ruby. A little bit further, that's where you find Coyle at. So he didn't even have her far from her home again. Luckily, you know what I mean? Because, and when you back and look at the map on this, you can see that that forest area there, whoops, wrong way, girl, wrong way, wasn't that large either. So he went to the most wooded area they had. And if you're from the area, you're going to know, right? See, it's just all foresty through here. And I guess the school probably does a lot of things in there with the kids with the forest. But other than that, look at all the open fields, right? You got some woods over this way. It looks like a pretty good area. Maybe over this way, some greenery. But yeah, this little spot over here is where he decided to take her, fortunately. Now, I wonder if he had his cell phone with him, like, and they were able to get some pings and stuff too. I don't know either. We're going to have to keep a eye on that kind of stuff as well. There was a article that had a pretty good timeline laid out for those. Now, I didn't do a deep dive live stream. I'm gonna tell you, if you want to get a little bit of the good backstory on what was happening Saturday, Grizzly True Crime had a great live. Forrest and I were both over there for that, and y'all know she does a good job anyway on everything she does. If you want information on that case and the backstory, and even maybe she may have some updates on him as well. I don't know. I haven't seen anything she's done since Ruby went missing. Okay. Okay, here we go. The timeline of how the officers searched. Okay, so they had that news conference on the 13th. Let's see. So at 4:42, Ruby was reported missing to the Portage County Sheriff's Office by her grandmother, who hadn't seen her since 3:30. If my 6-year-old is gone for 10 minutes and I cannot find him, I'm losing it, and I'm calling people right then and right now. Neighbors, get here first. 911's already on the way. Brother, sister, daddy, uncle, cousin. Everybody come. 4:42, she's reported missing and hadn't been seen since 3:30, giving the possible perpetrator a nice little jump. Three fire departments searched the area around the grandmother's home. A family member reveals Ruby left home with Jordan Coyle, her uncle, and who was a registered sex offender. A family member revealed that Ruby left the home with Coyle. How did you know that? For sure. How did they know that for sure? Unless they knew she got the truck and left with him. Was he supposed to go to the store and get her a candy bar and bring her right back? Oops, he ain't back yet. Oh, we might have a problem. At 9:30 p.m., the Portage County Sheriff's Office calls off the search and brings in assistance from the Wisconsin Department of Justice, the FBI, and Stevens Point Police Department. On September 12th, which is Friday, 20 FBI agents and 20 DOJ agents were working the case. Numerous drone teams and groups on the ground are searching. Dozens of interviews are being conducted. Exactly what law enforcement should be doing each and every time, and the costs can be astronomical, but no one cares when we're trying to find a missing baby. Until we figure out, wait a minute, Mama knew the whole time where she was? Ma'am, are you prepared to pay back some of this money you owe now? Because I'd sure make sure you got some restitution coming your way. The next little baby that legitimately goes, that's not the wrong word, because Ruby legitimately went missing. But the next baby who's snatched by a predator, we hope the funds are available to go find them too. People like you want to deplete the resources, right? At noon, the Portage County Sheriff's Office holds a press conference revealing Ruby is believed to be in the Washoe, Portage, or Wood counties, and has a close relationship with Coyle. Evidence was found of Coyle being in the woods in the Portage County area. Okay, that was on the 12th. Saturday the 13th, 10 a.m. 50 officers begin a grid search in Portage County. Thermal drones, dogs, officers' cameras, tracking devices, and 2 mine-resistant ambush-protected vehicles are being used. Whoa. Mine-resistant ambush. Do they think this dude has some stuff set up in the woods to ambush them? Or is that like their standard? That's pretty cool. I'm going to get into that. An officer notices pushed down grass near the Almond School forest. At 1:50 p.m., officers locate Coyle's white pickup truck. 4:47, officers find Ruby holding a game in her hand in good spirits. Minutes later, Coyle is arrested. So you had her out there in the woods with a game that was charged. Did you have an inverter in your truck so you could charge it up for her, or did mommy bring you a fresh stash of everything you might need to keep her quiet? Minutes later, Coyle was arrested. The family is notified. Ruby is medically evaluated. Jordan Cole is booked into the Portage County Jail for a probation violation, and then they hold a press conference. That is just... I got to close my window. They're chainsawing something outside out there. I don't know what's happening. Like, there's no trees over there for them to be chainsawing on. Y'all hold on one second. Let me make sure it's actually trees they're cutting down and not people. Hold up. Laugh out loud. It's the county cutting my ditch with a weed eater. I'm over here. Someone's got a chainsaw after people. Dude, you're going to be all day with that weed eater. Please stop. Go away. All right. Well, thank goodness they do it at least. Keep my ditch looking nice and trimmed out there to match my front yard. They're like, hey, her grass is cut. We got to go cut that ditch. You haven't had coffee yet, Butterfly? Is that an old message? Or did you get, let me say, oh, girl. Does the mother have a history of substance abuse? Don't know that much yet, Dolphin. This case just literally happened, like literally. This little girl just went missing a few days ago. They found her within 48 hours, and we're just learning all this information about this guy. And, well, we knew a lot about him on Saturday evening and Sunday. And now we're learning a little bit more, especially a little bit more about how she left the home, and not that he came and took her. She walked away. Still, yeah, but the mother is very questionable, and I think people are actually looking into her background and trying to see if there's any documents. I know they are. I'm just going to say that, but I'm just waiting on them to find them and let me know. My buddy MB is always on top of stuff. And he usually will hook us right on up. And he actually did that this morning too, because we got some butterfly. Lawson wants a new trial, and he has sentencing today at 3:30. We'll get to him in a second. But yeah, we're going to have to dig in a little to this Ruby Lehman. We're going to continue to follow it, guys, because it's getting out of hand. You know? I mean, there's just so much bad out there in the world and evil to contend with on a daily basis, and sometimes making it from sun up to sundown is a chore. Week to week, month to month, day to day. Out here, good people, hardworking people, love their children, trying to make it in this world and doing what's right, and you got monsters within. And the mamas are opening the front door and saying, come on in. Come on in. I'm not worried my child will have a nightmare tonight about a monster under the bed. It's the one trying to slide into the bed when mama's sound asleep. And I hate to be so blunt about it, but that's what's happening. How do you think these men get away with essaying these children in the mother's presence? How do you think they're doing it? Babysitting while she's at work earning the money to support the family? Mr. Dad, Mr. Mom? Falling asleep, mama's so tired she's got to get that good sleep, huh, Jen? Here's a pill, baby. Let me give you a massage, too, and put you right on out. And then I can slide into that bedroom and have my way with your little girl or your little boy, and you'll never know it until that baby tells. Are you going to pull a Jen Soto on your baby and say, are you sure, honey, it was that? You're just making it up again. Just, oh, you. Makes you want to smack a bitch, don't it? It wouldn't have paid for me to be in Orlando, because I promise you, well, I'm not that. When I really think about it, I could have drove on down there a couple times, because if I lived anywhere near Kissimmee, Florida, I'd be that one with my binoculars on a mission to find me a Miss Ma'am named Jen Soto. She can't be that damn hard to find. Florida ain't that. I mean, I get it. Orlando's huge. I live in Florida. I've been there many, many, many times. But I know my way around Orlando, too. For a Northwest Florida hick girl, I know my way around Orlando. And Kissimmee. You there somewhere, honey. Oh, you there somewhere. You're not in the state mental hospital, because that's only where criminals go. We have Chattahoochee. That's what it's called. Florida State Mental Hospital. I guarantee she's not there. You have to be criminally insane to go there. Okay. I don't plan for this to be a terribly long show this morning, guys. I do got some things to do this afternoon in case I do take off to my dad's later on. But we do got some more stuff to get to. I don't know how many of you were following the Crystal Rogers case. It had went on for 8-10 years. Crystal has never been found to this day. We don't know where she is. I don't think anybody will ever tell, because the 3 people convicted of her murder claim they're innocent. So you're certainly not going to tell. We just reviewed that piece on Eric Smallridge, that story here locally, about how he said he wanted to apologize to the families, and the defense attorney was like, no, you can't apologize, because then you admit you did something. He's like, but I did do something, right? So we haven't found Crystal after all these years, but today is the sentencing for her. At the time, her boyfriend, Brooks Houck, he's the father of her youngest child, and his cohort, Joseph Lawson, were found convicted guilty. Their sentencing today at 3:30. Well, Lawson has filed for a new trial. Good luck with that, buddy. Also, I don't know how many of you have followed the Crystal Rogers case, but Brooks Houck, his brother, was a cop at the time. There's a lot of interviews out there where Brooks in interrogation, his brother in interrogation, phone calls between Brooks and his bizarre brother. Bizarre. The mother is incredibly bizarre. They were caught trying to record their grand jury testimony so they can go back home and compare. It's like a whole thing, right? So after Brooks was arrested, after he was found guilty, he's still in jail. He called his mama and he called his brother to instruct them on what to do with all his belongings to take care of Eli. And I'm like, dude, you literally should have handled all that before the trial, just in case. You got a 13-year-old son. You are responsible for unaliving his mother. And now you want everybody to go sell all your goods to take care of him. And you won't even let Sherry and the rest of the family have anything to do with that baby. And Sherry's fought and tried. Crystal's mother, who had to raise Crystal's other children because you decided she didn't need to be here anymore. And let's not forget Tommy Ballard, Crystal's father, murdered 1 year after Crystal disappeared on his own property. Murdered because he continuously, every single day of his life, investigated his daughter's disappearance with a vengeance. And he wasn't staying quiet. And all those boxes and boxes of evidence he had that he gave to the cops was going to be a problem, wasn't it, Brooks and brother? So we got to still get justice for Tommy. So let's take a look at what I'm going to first pull up MB's tweet and get the document, guys. I want to read, because I haven't read it yet. I want to see what Lawson's idea of a new trial needs to be. Why all of a sudden, every time we have a trial, within a day or two, the defendants are popping off with a little motion demanding a new trial? For what? It's like, if we can't beat the system, we paper it to death for the rest of our lives. It's like, really? Who is allowing this anymore? We reserved all your rights to a fair trial to begin with. All the evidence against you wasn't even allowed in there because it might make you look bad. And now here you are wanting a new trial? And like the other one just ended? Shouldn't you be filing for an appeal, not a new trial? That is just crazy. It's an entitlement, do you know what I mean? Or is it just, I'm going down without a fight? Not without a fight, nothing you can do about it. Hey, Motion to Scream, welcome in. Semi-Sharp, welcome on in. Rage, good to see you, hun. Y'all welcome in. Tricia, yes ma'am, yes ma'am. We can't scream it enough, these women, y'all, I don't know how many of y'all have known, I've never known a woman that I knew at the time was letting that kind of thing go on. I've met somebody later in life who had dealt with that before, not SA and stuff, but between a man and the kids, you know what I mean? But I don't know personally, but if I was around a woman and I suspected or I got that weird vibe, I'm about to tell her. I'm going to tell her. She can hate me tomorrow. You can hate me in 2 minutes when I get done telling you, but I got to say it. Honey, what's wrong with you? Don't be so stupid, right? It's like, oh my gosh. All right, so MB has this up. I'm going to have to read it from my phone because I can't enlarge it on my screen and my blind butt can't see it. I don't know if you guys can see it well enough, but I cannot make it any larger there unless I didn't download it this morning like I should have. Let me check this one message and then I'll leave it on the screen as I'm reading it. Oh, Butterfly, that's what we're about to take a look at, right? Oh, this is Brooke. Oh, no, you got Brooks's for me. All right, thank you, Butterfly. I did not see that. What do we got here? Commonwealth's response to defendant's motion for new trial. Oh, Brooks, Houck. I think that is in these documents too, Butterfly, but we'll check. And then we'll come back to this one you sent to me as well. She and I have been following this case for a really long time. All right, let's get to MB's post so I can read the one from Joseph. We'll start with that one. I just, God, Mothers that let the monster in, bad defendants wanting new trials. Oh, and then I seen somebody all big mad, big mad, because we all went and looked at all those weird and bizarre photographs of Brian Koberger taking all his little selfies. How dare we? Excuse me, sir, but you're the one who put titties of Kaylee Gonzalez all over the internet and accused her of being an OnlyFans model. You ain't got no problem doing that, but how dare we come on here and talk about Brian Koberger and his silly little screenshot selfies? They're just selfies. How many do y'all have in your phone of you? I have none. I don't think I've ever taken a selfie in my entire life. I never understood why. I don't get it. They don't have a Zoom bar. I'm on his Twitter, Dolphin. That's why I'm saying it's. I pulled up his Twitter page and it doesn't let me zoom on the Twitter page. If I had downloaded it to the PDF, I could absolutely do that. But I'm going to have to read it to you guys because I did not do that prior to the show. That is my bad. Okay, so this one is for Joseph Lawson. Now, Steve Lawson was also charged and convicted. Steve is the father to Joseph. And the gun that killed Tommy Ballard, Crystal's dad, tied back to Nick Houck, his ex-cop brother. It's a long story, guys. Comes the Commonwealth of Kentucky by Special Assistance Attorney General Shane Young, James Lusowski, and Teresa Young hereby request this court deny the defendant's motion for new trial or in an alternative for judgment notwithstanding verdict. As grounds, the Commonwealth's request, the Commonwealth states as follows. This is going to be the Commonwealth's reply. A motion for judgment notwithstanding verdict is appropriate when there was an insufficient evidence offered for the purpose of conviction. A motion for JNOV raises a single question, whether the evidence is sufficient to sustain a conviction. And they cite a case. In the present, there was sufficient evidence to sustain a conviction. Allows a trial court to grant new trial for any cause which prevented the defendant from having a fair trial. And they cite another case to see for that. In this case, the defendant has made several allegations of error which the defendant claims have resulted in the denial of a fair trial. None of those allegations have merit. Okay. In the present case, the parties operated at trial under a joint defense agreement. Presumably, now they did because Steve's was severed from the three. He had his separate, and then Joseph had his with Brooks. In the present case, the parties operated at trial under a joint defense agreement. Presumably, the parties had a singular strategy. This was a strategy that the defendant, Jay Lawson, chose to undertake and would have influenced how evidence was presented. Sorry, I just got a message. It was my cousin checking on my daddy. I'll get back to her in a moment. And the parties operated. Certainly, the parties were aware that Houck's attorney were going to portray Lawson as someone Houck would not choose to associate with. As part of a future, now the Lawsons worked for Brooks Houck. Brooks thought he was the shit, big man on campus kind of guy. As part of a future record in this case, the Commonwealth has filed under the seal proffer agreement executed in 2024. A lot of this case was sealed and no cameras and all that dumb shit. Oh, and by the way, this case is in Kentucky. Where we been the last minute, y'all? All up in Kentucky's business, and I'm not done with them yet. I was going to do today's show to continue some stuff, but I was like, pause, because I am deep into something, and I gotta get that better organized before I present it. So keep, Kentucky, Indiana, they red flags. Y'all don't go there and do stuff. I wouldn't recommend going to those states and doing anything. Well, I don't recommend it anywhere, but especially in those two, if you just got to do it. Certainly, the parties were aware that Houck's attorneys were going to portray Lawson as someone Houck would not choose to associate with. Okay, the Commonwealth has done so in order to make a record of why certain choices were made by the parties that have impacted their defenses. Joinder, the defendants, was proper. The defendant alleges that the court erred by failing to sever his case from that of the defendant of Houck rather. The basis of this argument is that the admission of Houck's statement that were given to Detective Snow the week after the victim disappeared, which the defendant, Jay Lawson, claims violated his confrontation clause rights. Well, if they severed your daddy's, they could have done yours the same way, sir. Future, the defendant, because Steve and Joseph were father-son. Further, the defendant alleges that the desperate amount of pretrial publicity, here they go crying all about their pretrial publicity again. Shh, don't talk about them. You small, little, tiny true crime community, don't do it. You're going to mess up my trial. Defendant Houck advised detectives that he had no idea what happened to the victim and that when he awoke, Rogers was gone. The confrontation clause is only applicable to witnesses against the accused. Defendant Houck's statement to the detective implicated no one. If anything, the statement given by Houck exculpated the defendant. And they're going to go through and cite some case stuff there. All about case law. I'm not going to read that part of it. We're going to get into what they're saying. Okay. Further, in the current motion, the defendant has not complied with RCR 814. That rule requires motivants to state with particularity the grounds upon which the motion is made. The defendant in his motion has not identified a single juror who stated they knew Steve Lawson was convicted. Further, the defendant in his motion failed to identify a single juror that would have struck but for the use of premeditatory strike on a juror who was aware of the crime that Steve was convicted. I thought they questioned the jurors about if they knew anything about Steve. The venue for the all trials was appropriate. The defendant complains about the venue that was agreed upon by the parties. He states Steve Lawson's trial occurring less than a month before the start of his trial made it impossible to seat a jury free from the influence of potential pretrial publicity. We got a local case about Dr. Ben Brown, and oh boy, is he big mad at one of our local reporters. Big mad. He don't like her. Why is she here? Make her leave. I'm going to get pretrial publicity. Can I get a change of venue? Judge said, hell no. We're in Florida, Bubba. Welcome to the big leagues. You're going on blast. And you deserve to for what you did to your wife in your cosmetic surgery office. We'll get to that story. I just can't with some of these crybabies. Wah, wah, wah. Like you want some cheese to go with your freaking wine. All parties are aware of the location agreed upon for the trial and the trial dates in this matter. The defendant had ample opportunity to file a speedy trial motion to advance his case on the docket if it was an area of concern. The Commonwealth submits that the defendant assumed that no conviction would be obtained in any of these cases and strategically believed being tried after Steve Lawson was advantageous to get a preview of the Commonwealth's case. Kind of like that time that Chad Daybell's attorney sat in on Lori Daybell's trial. Is she throwing my client under the bus? Oh no, hell, she's protecting him. We'll throw her under it later. And then everybody will forget Chad was just as guilty as Lori. Look, Lori's so good she even sweet old Chad. Did she? Or was her religious delusions the problem? Further, this court advised all parties during voir dire that each party was welcome to bring jurors up to the bench and further explore any motions for cause. Based upon the review of the record, Houck's counsel only asked to further question jurors number 77 and 17. Defendant's counsel asked to further question juror number 41. Each one of these jurors stated he or she would only consider evidence presented at trial. Okay, let's see. The defendant never requested to introduce evidence of Steve Lawson's prior statements. The defendant makes the argument that he was precluded from entering evidence of prior inconsistent statements made by Steve Lawson, or he's the first one that went on trial. The Commonwealth is unaware the defendant is ever making such a request to this court. The defendant has failed to state how such, or failed to state how such, let me get the next one here, joint trials are favored. In fact, the U.S. Supreme Court recognizes the preference as a guiding reason for trying two defendants together when the first defendant implicated the other. Now, remember, they were originally going to try Lori and Chad together and ended up severing those cases. Yeah, Rachel, letters from Chud. They misspelled it on the website. Letters from Chuds. Got everybody in an uproar, I know. Here's the thing. I can go read them letters. I'm not going to change my mind about Chad Daybell, are they? But the people are worried that Chad's going to come out here now and manipulate the public with his goofy little letters. You can only be manipulated if you want to be. Just gives you more insight into the minds of monsters, to the mentally deranged, to the religious fanatics that they were, that we can't talk about. Because it was just about sex and money. Don't forget. The sex and the money was a bonus to the weird shit Lori was into with Chad, and what Chad was into. Conjuring up stuff. Conjuring. We probably need to conjure up some stuff around here. Maybe I should get busy. I like to dance in the light, not the dark. I almost said the wrong word. Y'all have been like, what? All right. So in that case, the court found that simply substituting other person for the second defendant's name in the incriminating statement was enough to protect him. Since Houck's statement is in no way implicated Jay Lawson, there was no such consideration in trying them together. The defendant, in the fact, benefited by the admission of Houck's statements, which provided an explanation of the events. Yeah, because remember, he calls up Steve, Brooks does, allegedly around midnight about the house rentals or whatever, and yeah, that's what they're talking about, that conversation. Further, the defense did not even ask for a limiting instruction regarding Houck's statement. This was likely done because the defendant believed it benefited him, which may not have been correct. Regardless, it was a strategy he undertook. I bet Kentucky prisons aren't that great, sir. I hope you enjoy your stay. The other possibility, and Lawson did not ask for admonition because of the joint defense agreement. Okay. The agreement was also the choice the defendant made. He was certainly free to his level of his own defense and call Houck a liar, but he didn't. What case y'all talking about? Oh, the Megan Boswell case. I kind of loosely know about it. There was no error in jury selection. Boy, they're getting this, like, these days it's all like the jury tampering. Murdaugh might get a new trial. I saw some stuff popping off. I've been trying to avoid that case a little bit, but there's more and more coming out. And I'm like, what is actually going on over here? Miss Becky Hill, you egg lady, did you mess it all up? Jury tampering, jury this, Karen Reed, investigation, jury tampering, ongoing. Like, what in the hell's even happening anymore? Stop it. It's not the people, it's not the YouTubes who's going to cause a mistrial for jury stuff. It's the damn defendants. And the clerk of courts, those are the people that are causing all those problems, not us. The defendant further argues that the court erroneous denial of defendant's motion to strike jurors with knowledge of Steve Lawson's prior conviction compelled the defense to use preemptory strikes on those same jurors. This argument fails as defense counsel did not follow the proper procedure to preserve the error. Oh. Further, the current motion offers no specificity as to which jurors would have been struck and no reasoning as to why the respective jurors' answers warranted a strike for cause. All right, so they go on now to explain juror stuff. All right. For Lawson's case, no such consideration trying them together. Oh, wait, that's the wrong one. Go down to this one. This is where we are. The defendant complains about the venue that was agreed upon by the parties. Yeah, because they, good luck with that, sir. He had the simple, okay, we read that part. We go to the next one. So there we go, the last ones. Yeah, we're on the last one. All right. Overheard a conversation between the defendant and Steve Lawson talking about moving a body at the farm. They have searched that farm multiple times. I think the FBI was back out there a year ago searching the Houck family farm. They have searched a couple of properties that Brooke owned himself, dug up driveways. No crystal. We have a saying down here in these parts of the woods. We all know where the hog pens are. That was talked about in Crystal's case. The defendant also complains, okay, this is about Ms. Snellen's testimony. Ms. Snellen testified she overheard the conversation. The defendant claims this statement should have been excluded in light of the lack of corroborating facts. First, there is no need to determine the declarant of the statement. If the defendant's claim is the defendant was not the declarant, he should have explored the issue while Ms. Snellen was on the stand. So his defense didn't get up and cross-examine her about that conversation. Ms. Snellen testified the defendant, Steve Lawson, were having a conversation. The defendant and Steve were having a conversation about moving a body at the farm. This statement was admissible under KRE 8001 A, B, and 1 as admission by a party. The analysis of whether there are corroborating facts only applies to statements introduced pursuant to KRE 804B. However, even if the court were to consider corroboration, it would only have to look at the admissions the defendant made to Charlie Gertie, Barbara Coulter, and Rebecca Lawson to find corroboration. Then they say there was efficient evidence to demonstrate the defendant moved Crystal's vehicle. Now, Crystal's car was found on the Bluegrass Parkway by her brother, by her family. They were looking for her. The cops had already been called and everything, right? When they found Crystal's car, the first thing her brother noticed was the driver's seat. Crystal was a tall woman. He said Crystal liked to drive with her seat all the way back, and her backrest would be a little bit reclined. That's how Crystal drove her car. When he found the car, the first thing he noticed was that seat was straight up the back and pulled almost all the way to the steering wheel. Crystal wasn't driving that car. Inside the car was her purse, keys, and cell phone, and the car had a flat tire. Once the police got the car and allegedly processed it, I think it was less than a year later, they released that car to Tommy, her father, and Tommy put it into preservation and preserved it. And I know that a couple of years ago, an entire forensic team went back in to re-examine Crystal's car, and they were stunned at what they found in the car. Why is this here? Why wasn't this removed or taken or processed? What's happening here? So were there missteps in handling of Crystal's car in the very beginning that could have yielded some good DNA? Certainly there is a disagreement between the two parties as to their location. Steve Lawson testified on his own trial, in his own trial under oath, that he picked the defendant up at Crystal Rogers' vehicle. Okay, let me start this over because I skipped a part. So what the claim was, what Steve admitted. Okay, the defendant argues that the cell phone evidence and forensic evidence demonstrate that neither Steve nor Joseph were in Crystal's vehicle the night of July 3rd, 2015. On the early morning hours of July 4th, 2015. The last time Crystal was seen or spoke to was allegedly the 4th. Really, it was the 3rd. Certainly, there is a disagreement between the two as to their location, since Steve testified in his own under oath at trial. He claims that he picked up Crystal Rogers' vehicle on the Bluegrass Parkway in the early morning hours of July 4th. Trying his case separately from Steve Lawson's case allowed the defendant to put forward a defense that he and Steve were on the Bluegrass. So the state claims that, was it Joseph or Steve, I can't remember which one, actually drove Crystal's car out there and left it. Right? And it wasn't Crystal who left the car there. That's not where she disappeared from. The defendant also complains of improper statements made by the Commonwealth during closing arguments. The Commonwealth would note that there was an objection made during the Commonwealth's closing argument. Courts generally give the parties wide latitude in, let me go down here. Wait a minute, these documents are backwards. Hold on. Can we do it this way? There we go. Okay. We're down to this one. So they also trying to get them on jury instructions. Also another detective statements, because it's like a really long document. I don't really want to read the whole thing. I want to get to their conclusion here. Let's see what it says at the end. The court correctly denied the motion for direct verdict. So it seems like there was about, God, they had a lot of elements they were actually going after in this new motion. I don't know when the judge will make a ruling. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, goodness, 7, 8, or 9 different points they were looking at. Okay, there we go. Now I'm back to where I was, I think. Page 8. Okay. Oh, the whole page is missing? 9? Where'd you go, number 9? Maybe it's this one. Should be this one. 8. Like the whole damn page is gone. What happened? Yeah, every time I click, I'm getting every page but the one I need. That's crazy. All right, well, so Brooks also did file one. So we're going to finish him because he's got a lot. Also, Brooks Houck now has one, and it's like a 27-pager. We're not going to read the whole thing. What we're going to do is, so he wants a motion for judgment notwithstanding verdict when there was insufficient evidence offered for the purpose of conviction. How can they say that? That's a weird claim to make now that all of a sudden y'all don't have enough there. So the court properly denied the defendant's motion for a directed verdict. And then the other one, it states, I'm just going to kind of go through what their highlights are of it. I need to get this document downloaded and then I can share it into the community tab with you guys. Butterfly, will you drop MB's Twitter link for me? If you haven't done that already, you probably have, ma'am. He has both of these documents on the Twitter page. Like I said, Brooks is a 27 page. I think there's 14 pages to the Lawson case. Brooks is such an arrogant man. So arrogant. Then he also claims about the cases were improperly tried together. Okay, let's see. The court properly allowed Stacey Kramer's testimony. Stacey Kramer testified that prior to Crystal's murder, Steve and Brooks were driving around in Brooke Houck's work vehicle. She found their behavior very odd, as she had worked for Brooks and he did not ride around with workers. So it wasn't common for Brooks to ride around with his employees. When Steve exited the vehicle, Stacey questioned him about what he and Houck were talking about. Stacey, concerned that she might be blamed for crack in the ceiling of the house she was working on. Again, he was a contractor there, old Brooks, and he owned some properties. Steve told her they weren't talking about her. Instead, he said they were talking about a mother of 5 kids that he had to go take care of. That would be Crystal Rogers. News of Crystal Rogers' disappearance became public on the afternoon of July 5th, 2015. Stacey called the police on July 5th, 2015 at 6:43 p.m. to report the behavior she had witnessed. Wow, I never knew that. She called the same damn day. In October of 2015, she went to the police station and wrote a statement recounting what she had heard and observed. Now, you got to have some proof, right? She just heard heard what he told her. What mother and 5 kids? Coincidentally, that same day, a mother of 5 disappears? That should have turned them on to immediately to those eyes should have been on him from that day forward, right? All these years. This court correctly determined that Steve's statement that he was going to take care of a mother of with 5 kids was admissible under KRE 803 as state of mind. KRE 803 provides in part that a statement of the defendant's existing state of mind, such as intent or plan, is a hearsay exception regardless of whether the declarant is available. Our court has determined that those statements which come within the state of mind exception are those which cast light upon the future intentions. The court was correct in its ruling that Steve Lawson's statement to Kramer was admissible under this exception. Shay McAllister over at WSHA, whatever. She used to, since the Houck trial, Crystal Rogers' case is over, she has stepped away from the news and she's doing more of her own thing now with YouTube and such. But she kept us updated on Crystal's case for years. Not just during the trial we couldn't attend, but for years, Shay has never let up on this case. And thank you, ma'am, because she did an amazing job. Her podcasts are all available. It's a long story because it's been going on since 2015, guys. Her work in that case is really amazing. And if you've never seen an interview with Crystal's mother, oh my goodness, Sherry is amazing. You got to go check her out and see. Your heart will just... She's such a genuine woman, right? You just feel that genuine, that her genuineness comes out at you. You just can't, it's just there. You won't be side-eyeing her like you will some people. The Commonwealth's closing regard Detective Tim O'Daniel's testimony was appropriate argument. The defendant argues it was improper for the Commonwealth to state during closing that Detective Daniel said it was very possible that Steve traveled down the Bluegrass Parkway. The defense states the Commonwealth should have used the words somewhat possible. Oh, good Lord. You should have objected to that language in the courtroom at the minute it happened. Or they think they're in a mock trial in high school and we got to tweak it? What in the world? Very possible versus somewhat possible. Please don't call my defendant a murderer. Call him an unaliver. Lordy, lordy. Okay, so now we got attorneys have to be super careful with their words because then defense attorneys might come in real hot in a minute with some little offensiveness. First, Detective Daniel stated at the end of his direct in that was his opinion. Lawson's phone was in the area of the Bluegrass Parkway near where Crystal's vehicle was found. And they cite the time frame for that. Further on direct, O'Daniel was asked if it was very possible Steve Lawson's phone could be connected to the towers at the sectors shown in the cast report while on the Bluegrass. Detective responded, yeah, it very well could be. He then went on to clarify that no one will ever know for sure the cell tower coverage because what? Hold on. Hold on, let me get back to my page here. Because a drive test was not done at the time. Oh boy. Did they not do drive tests back in 2015, guys, with the cast? Maybe not. But you still got a cell phone tower sector that's a possibility. Kind of like Koberger's possibility of stalking. As the court has noted, counsel has wide latitude during closing arguments and may comment on the evidence and make legitimate inferences that can be reasonably drawn from the evidence. We reasonably want y'all to know that you pinged within 15 miles, so reasonably you were probably there. Until the day I'm the defendant. I'm like, your cast stuff is crap, man. Get it out of here. But today I'll take it. I saw somebody make a big thing about all of y'all are over there falling all over that Celebrite lady Heather in the Koberger case. Remember that Celebrite stuff in the Karen Reed case? And I laughed and laughed and laughed because I'm like, they don't get it. We're talking about different stuff, right? Y'all don't. Some of y'all still think Celebrite deleted that man's data. Not what happened. But okay. Do you? They deleted a program that other companies still use, not the actual phone data. For those who still needed clarification. The statement made during the closing argument was simply a reasonable statement based upon two prior statements. Counsel has wide latitude during the closing arguments. Okay, I'm down here. The defendant claims he was entitled to a domination admonition during the deliberations. The jury played back testimony from Charlie Gridley. While the defendant is correct that he objected during the trial and his objection was sustained. So they cite some more cases, and then they goes on. The next thing they cited was the defendant's bond did not prevent him from participating in his defense. What? Because he got denied bond. And we're seeing all these people get, $8-10 million bonds these days. That's not out of the ordinary anymore. That's like inflation went up, right? The rest of us have got to pay more at the dang grocery store. Guess what, defendants? You got to pay more to get out of jail. We can't let y'all just sit down there in the low tier from back in 1980-something bond. We got to feed America $8 million or you ain't going nowhere. The defendant's bond did not prevent him from participating in his defense. It sure didn't. Go ask Koberger. It does not hinder you. Well, maybe. Depends on what state you're in, maybe. I don't know. If you're Rick Allen, you're SOL. Oh, wait. He's the only one that got sent to prison straight out the gate. Sorry. My bad. There is nothing in the record indicating that the defendant was not able to participate in his defense. The defendant's bond was the subject of a hearing and a pretrial appeal and has been adequately litigated. The Commonwealth does not intend to do so again. Further, the defendant provides no facts in the motion indicating that he was unable to review the discovery. In fact, a review of the defendant's phone calls indicates he was aware of any statements witnesses made against him and desired that his family members also know what the evidence was. Yeah, because these dummies forgot they were being recorded at the jail, too. Hey, it's okay. Go record our grand jury testimony, and we're just going to talk freely in the jail and hope nobody records us because we're the Houck family. Okay, so that really, guys, is the gist of it. These two guys wanting some kind of special treatment, defendants behaving badly. All right, let me check my messages really quick, guys. Okay, good news again for my daddy. The doc says everything's coming back good. He did one more test just to be sure of his blood. Blood drew some blood. They're going to get that result back. If everything looks good, he's going home later. Yay! Let me tell my cousin he's doing great, and I'll call her soon. She might be sleeping though. Okay. All right. Thank you guys for giving me that moment. All right. This and this. Hey, Joy, welcome in. Welcome in. Oh, yes. If that acupuncture does sound good for the chronic pain. I've always known it works. I just been that one who. Well, I had it one time, really, when I was going through pain management, and he put these little tiny needles all in my back, and I could not feel it. Like it didn't even bother me. But man, oh man, for months and months and months, I felt better. And that was the only time I ever had that done. I'm not even sure what he did that day. I was having really bad muscle spasms, and he could see them. Like I'm tiny, so the doc walks up. He's like, "Oh my God, your back is locked up." I'm like, "No shit, fix it, please." I can't even stand up straight, but he fixed it. Shout out to the doc. No pills involved, just a couple of pricks here and there, and boy, I felt good. Okay, let me check what I got here. All right. He was gonna. He said he numbed me up, Rachel, and I think he did it too good because I swear I think my back's been numb since that day, and I'm good with that. I don't need to feel what that was doing before. I have a dead thumb, and my very lower back is usually always numb, so I'm like, whatever. As long as it doesn't get any worse. What do you call that? I have in my neck, I have oh shit, I've had surgery for it. I got this little pin and this little spacer in my neck. Cervical lumbar. Okay, I have it in my neck and my lower back. My dad and my aunt have the same thing, and it's a narrowing, and it can cause you to be compressed and nerves to be pressed on or whatever. They say it's hereditary. I was like, thanks, Dad and Aunt. And they both have had surgery for that. I haven't yet, but if I had known how well surgery was going to work for my neck, I'd have done that years before I actually did it. Everyone's like, oh, you shouldn't do that. It's your neck. I'm like, you don't understand. You don't understand. And boy, I felt better in recovery. The doctor walked in and I'm sitting up in my chair. He's like, man, you're up. I was like, dude, you don't understand. I do not have a headache for the first time in a long time because of this neck, bone on bone. Stenosis. Thank you, Dolphin. It left me. That's what I have in my neck, and then turns out now I have it in my lower spine as well. But you figure out ways to. I got all kind of contraptions over here, y'all. I got this roller thingy. I got another handheld thingy with rollers on it. I got my massage pad, my heating pad, my jar of THC CBD meds. I'm good. I'll get up and walk around, stretch, hope for the best. I'm not taking your damn pills. Okay. Let me read y'all an update on Rex Heuermann really here. We know they had the Fry hearing, right? So they were, if y'all don't know, they were going to hold a big Fry hearing over in New York. It's still called a Fry hearing there. It's also known as a Daubert hearing. And from my understanding, a Fry hearing actually is a little harder or tougher than a Daubert. And what that is to get in brand new evidence. In Heuermann's case, it's this hair follicle DNA. It's never been used in court in New York, and the judge did rule they can use it. And then he's got another hearing coming up soon. And we've been following the case. He's, a serial killer. I'm following. And with his being in New York, I don't know if they don't, from what we hear, they don't allow cameras. Wait. So you can't see court proceedings in New York. So I don't think we'll ever see Heuermann's trial. Remember the Peacock special or whatever it was following his wife into trial, or the hearings or whatever. Hey, wait, if y'all gonna let some TV camera crew up in there filming some sort of documentary, did y'all let them in during the whole hearing? How come we couldn't? Or did they kick them out and say, no, you can't go all the way in? I don't know. Oh, Rex. Where you at, Rex? Where's your file? Here it is. This big-ass ogre dude. Could you imagine walking past this guy on the streets? Would you take a step to the other side and stay clear? Ah. There we go. Oh no, you struggled to drive home? I bet. I need a full body massage, and I know it. Get these knots worked out. Ugh. I want the little Chinese ladies. I want one of those. All right, so this is some stuff that came out recently, and this is really strange, guys, because we know Rex Heuermann was harming women for a very long time before he was ever caught. How far back does it really go, right? How far back does it really go with this big ogre guy? Detectives working the Gilgo Beach murders on Long Island visited Jones Beach after discovering disturbing evidence, including a bloody glove, near where Rex Heuermann once worked, the Post has learned. Less than 2 months after Heuermann was arrested in July of 2023 in connection to 3 of the 11 Gilgo Beach murders, workers 3 miles away at Jones Beach unearthed a cache of weather-beaten purses and women's and girls' clothing buried in the sand just outside the East Bathhouse. The workers were cleaning the area and called the police immediately. Police sources said the clothing was from the late 1980s and early 1990s. The items were buried 2 feet deep. Holy heck! Rex, is that you? The items included rayon miniskirts, shorts, pants, and shirts. Some of their buttons popped off. You might find them in the basement, suggesting the clothing may have been torn off or forced open, sources said. Again, go check that basement for some stray buttons right now. Maybe that's why they went back into the house, because they searched that house and tore it to pieces, and then they went back in again, remember? And then we saw during the Peacock special when the daughter walked us through the house and all this hoarding stuff they had into the bizarre basement down there. Do y'all think that was some of his victims' belongings buried from the 80s and 90s? Well, the other states are going to be limited because they know where Rex has been most of his life. There's a whole backstory about Rex Heuermann's grandpa that ain't too pretty. It's weird, too. He's got the connection in North Carolina where his brother lived, and that's where his truck went to. The truck he killed all these people in, or used to commission in the commission of the crime. He ended up giving that truck to his brother, and then he bought himself another one just like it, but new. And then they went and got the truck from the brother's house. They collected it. Yeah, they went back in. The second time was 2 weeks, Rach. I covered it here. We got live stream and a members only live stream as well on Rex Heuermann. I need to get the playlist together for you guys. When I'm at my dad's over the next few days, if I end up going, if he's all stubborn and he's good, then I'll have to mind my daddy. But if I go, there will be somebody else there with him, but he just wanted me to go. But if I don't go, still, I got some things to do here on the channel and get things cleaned up for you guys. I got to get some playlists organized and all that. So here was the map they had shown in the beginning of the case, where the Gilgo victims were found. Now, the Asian male was here, and then down here on the very far right-hand side is where they found the Jane Doe and the toddler. Now, they've since been able to identify them. I believe that's the ones they did identify. And if you want to be kept up on this case, honestly, I always check Catch Lisk on X. Raul has a fantastic Twitter account, and he's dedicated to the victims in the Lisk case. So he's got great information over there all the time. They also found a blood-covered workman's glove and a mysterious leather strap hidden inside a shack still used by beach employees. So Rex worked out there, and then they found a mysterious leather strap. Heuermann, 61, worked at Jones Beach during the summers of 81 through 84 when he was in his late teens. Oh, did he start this in his late teens, y'all think? Or that urge was there, I'm sure in 81 to 84 it was there. The East Bathhouse has been closed since 2009 and should reopen next summer after recent renovations. They're definitely taking this seriously given how close it is to Gilgo Beach, a source explained. Bathroom taking selfie. What is with these murderers? They admire themselves more than anybody else. All of the items were collected by investigators for forensic testing. it was unclear if results had been returned. Jones Beach ends where Gilgo Beach begins. And prosecutors contend Heuermann was well acquainted with Ocean Parkway, where most of the victims' bodies were scattered. It's very dark out there on that parkway at night. Very, very dark and desolate. You're not going to be out there, it'd be like coming out to my house in the middle of the night. You might pass one car, if you're lucky, the whole 15, 20 miles. Plenty of time to sneak off into the woods and do stuff. And nobody would see you. And ring cameras, forget it. These houses don't sit that close to the highway. They're going to catch a blurb coming down the street, if that. You're going to get that grainy footage. Jones Beach has for decades used burlap fencing. Oh, and that interesting, burlap. Some of his victims were covered in burlap. Burlap fencing during the winter months to guard plants on the dunes, as well as to protect the dunes from the erosion caused by wind. And his victims and other victims found that have not been linked to him yet, as far as him being charged with their murders or their deaths. And this was the little baby down here that was found. Her mother to the left. A judge this week ruled prosecutors could present DNA evidence at Heuermann's trial. The court hearing is set for September 23rd. So in a few days, he has another hearing set. Prosecutors utilize a more advanced but unproven method for testing hairs recovered from from some of the bodies, making a first for New York. Heuermann is accused of killing Valerie Mack, 24, Melissa Taylor, 20, Megan Waterman, 22, Melissa Barthélemy, 24, Maureen Brainerd Barnes, 25, Sandra Costello, 28, and Amber Lynn Costello, 27. He's pled not guilty to all 7 murder charges. Investigators are still trying to connect Heuermann to the 4 bodies found dumped along Ocean Park at Gilgo Beach. So they haven't even been able to charge him with the others yet. You know what I mean? And those hair tests or the hair DNA stuff they're going to allow in is important. Some of those hairs we know were Heuermann's wives and daughters found on the victims. Now, is that a classic case of transfer DNA? The victims were in his vehicle. Obviously, the wife and child would be in the vehicle at some point, swapping hairs, or the victims were in the home, in the basement. That's how the hair got there. What matters is it's their hair which ties him to that body. They're not trying to tie the wife and the daughter to the body as far as being the one who caused the body to be unalived. Y'all know what I'm saying? Y'all followed me, didn't y'all? Y'all done learned me. Y'all like, we can follow her. Maybe. Thank y'all. Sometimes I pack this stuff out of my head talking out loud. I talk to myself all the time in the backyard. It helps me get it out and debunk my own dumb theory. I come up with something like, wait a minute, does that really make sense, girl? Then I'll be arguing with myself for about 30 minutes about it until I figure it out. Maybe. Sometimes I figure it out and sometimes I don't. And then there's times I come in here and talk to you guys about it. We figure it out together. Let's see what you guys are saying. Yes, you're right. Cat ride. Is that how you pronounce it? Calling the victim's family is a special kind of sick. And we know Heuermann was doing that. Him and his many burner phones. And then after his victims were deceased, he would call and torture their families. That's it. I mean, what kind of sick pleasure you get out of that kind of stuff? We also read documents about his kill document, what all he needed to be worried about, what all he had, everything, even down to his little thing he hung up in the ceiling. What was that thing called? I had to go back and look at my notes again on that. We even looked it up on Google. I forgot what it's called, guys. Y'all probably know that it had hooked into the ceiling where he was taking the girls downstairs. how he became concerned about DNA at some point, but then didn't think, throwing his pizza crust out was a bad idea. He didn't take his own advice out of his little notebook, did he? Mm-mm. Yes, Rachel. So that is true. Another point she's made just right there reminded me of that. So they have all 7 of the cases, but yes, Heuermann's defense wants them all tried separately, right? They don't want him to look like a serial killer. And of course, if you go get charged on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, number 7's not going to want any of those 1 through 6 to come into court. We can't let the jurors know you already got 6 prior convictions, or 5, or 4, or 3, or 2, or 1. Get out of town with that mess, Lori Vallow. Get out of town with it. You are what you are. This is on paper. Gee whiz. I don't know why they take all those selfies, right? And I was watching I accidentally watched it because I was scrolling YouTube one night here, and because there was a couple nights I had my usual not sleep or whatever, so I'm scrolling or whatever, and I run across this one thing on YouTube. I'm like, what is this? So I looked, and I was like, oh my god, are you kidding me? Remember that goofy picture Koberger took, and he made that face, and he looks goofy as shit. They're trying to explain how innocent that was. He's just goofing around, and who's he goofing around to? Himself? Probably because nobody else would talk to him. That's right. Nobody else would talk to Koberger, so he had to take his own pictures and look at his own butt and crack a joke at his own self. I don't know. And nothing new's come down the docket on that case either, guys. They haven't unsealed anymore in the great unsealing that they're taking their sweet loving time on. Both parties have got their documents back in and they're sealed. Well, the prosecution's hasn't shown up on the docket yet, but it is in the case summary. Same situation as defense. Here you go, but can we seal it? Yes, you can. Yeah, that should. Yeah, we're going to be doing a members only soon about Koberger because I was doing some more research and just looking into some. But the other day, one of the last shows I did with Dolphin, and we had that website we were all looking at with the serial killers and such. BTK is just his whole story, right? And I don't listen. I'm obsessed with serial killers. Yeah, I'm in true crime, but whatever. But studying them, right, and learning them, and there's just some things that about BTK I can never get away from with these other people. So there's some things I want to explore in the Koberger case, but I think we're going to reserve that for members only. You guys deserve a great members only because you're amazing. You're coming back, you're supporting us, and I love it. I love it. And I need to just get my shit together and get that show together so we can do that. Hawkeyes, welcome. Hey, it's been a minute. Okay. You been on vacay? Thank you, thank you. We have missed you, honestly. I hope you had a good vacay anyway. It's always good to take some time, right? Always good. And y'all know I'm going to take my time this afternoon. That yard is calling me. It is what it is. Y'all do the same. Get out there 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Go sit out back with a tea or a coffee or a soda or whiskey. I don't care. Gummy. Sit out there for 30 minutes and enjoy yourself and get some peace and listen to the birds sing. And if you don't have birds in your town, just got sirens and stuff, go there in your head. Get your headphones on and put on some beach music or something. Beach music. Wave action. Y'all know what I meant. Go find you some 430 megahertz music and put it on your headphones and walk outside and sit down and feel the vibrations. I saw a story this morning. I saw a story this morning where a witch spirit is murdered a man. Y'all want to see what I'm talking about? before we go? I'll show y'all. It's so funny. It was not funny. It's like, what in the world did I just see? And then, of course, I had to go look something up on it. I was like, this can't be real. And lo and behold, it's real. Let the spirit move me. Okay. Okay, hold on. Let me get to it. If you're a vibrational kind of person, you'll get it. If you scare easily, it's just a witch story. Okay. Okay, I had never heard of this until this morning, early with my coffee, probably about 4 o'clock. Legend of the Bell Witch. I'm always awake at the witching hour, it seems. Okay, here we go.
Adams, Tennessee, home to the Bell family, is known for one of the most famous supernatural legends in America.
Voices and strange noises in the cave is actually very common, but there's been stuff actually happen all over the farm. It's not just the cave. We've had tapping and knocking in the cabin or hear footsteps and nobody's there.
Beyond this gate, the Bell Witch began her wrath.
A spirit terrorized the Bell family during the early 1800s. It started out as small tapping noises and gradually gained strength to where it could talk.
The strange activity quickly escalated. The entire Adams community felt its chill.
The whole community of Adams witnessed this. It attended church, but it gave multiple identities of itself.
She said that this thing attended church, y'all. It attended church and it gave multiple identities of itself.
Saying that it was an Indian spirit, an immigrant spirit.
Even Andrew Jackson heard the story, and what happened next would be etched into history.
Then it gave its reasons for being here. It was to stop the youngest daughter from getting married to a neighbor boy, and then to kill John Bell. And this has gone down in history as the only known case of the supernatural to ever kill a person.
What? Y'all? Do y'all believe it? Do you think that person came back because she meant to kill this man? I might have to blow up and kill this man. Don't break my heart. That just popped into my mind for some stupid reason. Lord. Y'all, we're a true crime community and we got to solve this mystery. Did this witch kill this man?
For more than 2
She probably did.
centuries, the legend has been passed down, bending between fact and fear.
But it didn't take long to realize that we weren't talking about your typical campfire story, but more of a historical mystery, one that involved a family that endured 4 years of harassment.
And still today, people travel far and wide for this folklore.
We've had people from the Czech Republic, Australia, Japan, all over Europe.
We joined Candy Houghton on a tour to see what we might find.
We start them all here so that people will know the story before they go down to the cave.
Visitors first step into the Bell family cabin before descending into darkness below.
According to the books, the Bell family used the cave for storage because of the cool temperature. The kids would often have picnics down there and fish down on the river below the cave. And the spirit actually saved a boy's life in the cave one time.
Even now, some say the spirit makes itself known.
There has been times where we've heard somebody walk up on the pavilion and there's nobody there. We've come in and there'd be books all over the floor in the gift shop. That's happened multiple times, actually.
History or
Stevie the Queen. I had to pause and take a bow. Yes, ma'am. Queen Stevie. She named my daughter for me. Rhiannon rings like a bell through the night.
haunting, the Bell Witch legend has put Adams on the map. Every October, the legend comes alive with hay rides, tours, and
the Bell Witch Festival that they have up there every year, and they have those 2 plays. And there's a lot of people in Adams that, of course, occasionally will talk about the Bell Witch, but they refer to her as Kate.
And if you're wondering whether we cross paths with the ghost of the Bell Witch, well, that secret stays behind closed doors. You'll just have to come see for yourself.
I think it's important that in today's world we preserve our history and keep using our oral traditions to pass this history down.
Reporting in Robertson County, Alexia Chiropoulos, News 2.
We now know more about the...
Isn't that crazy, guys? Yeah, Rhiannon. My daughter's name is Rhiannon Denise. She's the one that lives in heaven now. But Stevie Nicks named her. She named her before I ever had that child. I said I was never going to have any kids, right? But I did. But Stevie Nicks named that child years before I had her. I was like, if I ever do, that'll be her name. And lo and behold, I had a little girl named Rhiannon. Yeah, I know. I'm very careful with that, girl. Very careful. Walk in the light, not the dark. The truth shall set you free. Don't, unless you close it off completely. Never mind, that's a whole ass rabbit hole, ain't it? You're like, what in the world is she even saying? Oh, witchy woman. The Eagles. I'm a little witch. I'm a little gypsy. I'm a little sea salt. I'm a little pirate. A little bit of whiskey here and yonder. A lot of THC. So yeah, this witch, what did she do? Let me find what I did. Well, I know what I did with it. I Wikipedia'd it. Or actually, I Googled it. And a couple of things came up. And this was pretty cool. I was like, well, hang on. I'll just go with this. Because I was like, how did she kill him? We got to know that part. I need to see the probable cause affidavit on this. So, before we go condemning this witch, like in the Salem witch trial days, you know what? I'm left-handed, so they'd have hung me up by the stakes. Not only do you act witchy, but you're left-handed. You are a witch. Get over here. We're hanging you. Please don't. Okay. Even the families' enslaved workers reported strange happenings. An enslaved man named Dean said that he encountered the witch several times. He said that the witch usually took the form of a dog-like creature. Oh, she was a shapeshifter too. Okay. And sometimes she had 2 heads. Dean admitted that soon after these encounters, he began carrying around a witch ball made by his wife to protect him from harm. Ooh, I wonder what she put in it. Some of the family's neighbors and friends experienced unusual encounters with the witch as well. One incident involved a family friend named William Porter, in which he supposedly grabbed a hold of the witch and attempted to throw the invisible entity into the fire. He was unsuccessful, as the massive weight and terrible odor of the witch were too much for him to bear. After 3 years of non-stop attacks and harassment, John Bell's physical health started to decline. He became bedridden and eventually passed away in December of 1820. His family believed the Bell Witch had caused his death by giving him a kind of poison. Sage everywhere, right? Sage, sage, sage. It was even said the witch had crashed his funeral and sang cheerful drinking songs during the ceremony. We got a comical ass witch on our hands. After his death, the constant hauntings and abuse lessened, then eventually stopped altogether, just as mysteriously as they'd begun. Since that time, the legend of the Bell Witch has lived on by influencing popular culture through books, movies, television, and theater. While many view the story of the Bell Witch as a local folktale, there are others who believe that the hauntings did, in fact, take place, and there is still supernatural activity connected to the land. To this day, thousands of people flock to Adams every year. Y'all, we need to rent one of them buses and go. Who's going to go with me? Y'all chicken? It's holy water. Hey, you can get some Florida water. If you know, you know. Look it up. If you're Spanish, you know. Hazulema. You got you some Florida water, girl. Y'all didn't know how to use it properly, right? I'll let that sit right there. To this day, thousands of people flock to Adams every year to visit the original site of the Bell Witch haunting in hopes to experience something paranormal for themselves. An enthusiast, legend, frontier. What is all this? Oh, they're giving you explanations, definitions of what this means from the article. I forgot. Some people just need to know. Okay. So there you go, guys. A little history on a witch that unalived somebody. Case updates on what we've been following here. My goodness. Well, thank you all for joining me today. I do appreciate it. I'm going to go and have a productive rest of the day. I feel like a nap's coming on for this afternoon in case I got to leave out of here this evening to go see my daddy. If that's the case, I'll post in the community tab and let you guys know what I'm doing. If I do go to my dad's for a few days, I won't be able to stream. Like I've said, he has no Wi-Fi, no computer, just me and my cell phone and my pretty good reception. It was pretty good last time. I can get on the back porch up here, probably be okay. So I'll be able to stay in touch and follow the cases we're following, and I can report any updates and all the good things. You guys know to stay safe out there on them YouTube streets. They're dangerous. There's caution and rickety ass roads and potholes everywhere. Y'all use your good brain. I know y'all got them. So much crazy going on. So much crazy. All right. Yep. So if y'all didn't get the whole show, go back on replays. We have an update in the beginning on baby Emmanuel. Ruby Lehman case update as well. Update on the Crystal Rogers case. And then, of course, this piece just now on Rex. Old Rexy boy over here. All right, y'all. Have a great one, and I'll see you again soon. Goodbye.